Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Thanks so much for joining me. I am glad to have you here for this paint party this weekend. I'm excited to get started on this painting, which you'll see right behind me. I'll put up a reference photo for you on your screen in just a minute. I'm going to give a few minutes for people to come on the stream. If you are new to the stream, you will, or you won't know, but I'll tell you, my stream is really low-key. Basically, I am learning to paint using YouTube tutorials and YouTube videos only. I started this a couple months ago now, during the original quarantine for the pandemic, probably in April or May, and just have been slowly improving as we go along. So started doing these live streams, inviting you along on the journey. So I'm so glad that you've joined me, no matter where you're joining from. I encourage you to go ahead and say hello wherever you are. I see Lola's in the room. Thank you, Lola. Every week you show up, and I appreciate your connection and keeping track of me as this journey unfolds. You can find me on YouTube. I also stream also on Twitch and Twitter and Facebook, I think, and a bunch of different places. But you can join the conversation in the comments wherever you are finding this stream. Say hello. Let me know where you're streaming or where you're joining from. Feel free to ask questions. Hey Ty, it's so good to see you. Thanks so much for joining. Pop in, pop out. This is a longer stream than most because I'm painting as I go, and it takes me a while. So you can pop in, pop out. It's kind of like open house style. So feel free to join the conversation, say hello, ask questions. I love the interactive part of it. So feel free to engage in the comments as we go through the process. Okay, so let's see. I'm excited to I don't know that I'd say masterpiece, Ty, but I'm excited to get this painting started as well. Bob, hello. Welcome to the show. I hope you have your drink ready and you are going to enjoy this as you sit back there overlooking the river. I do want to, Ty mentioned the masterpiece. I'm excited because I started, as I said, a couple of months ago now, slowly learning using YouTube videos to improve my painting. And this afternoon I was watching a video and learned something brand new, was so excited. But in the last couple of weeks, Junior Achievement here in Little Rock approached me and asked me to donate to their charity auction. They're going to be doing a charity auction in the next week or so, I believe, to raise money for Junior Achievement. And so I am donating this painting as well as the Trumpeter Swan that I did a few weeks ago for the charity auction. This is the most recent one we worked on last week's live stream. So if you saw that, I did do some painting during the week to finish the grasslands and the reflections in the water, added some detail to the sky, improved the shadowing in the clouds to make it more realistic. But this one is done. So if you're interested in this one or the Trumpeter Swan, actually I have it. I wasn't planning to show it, but it's sitting here, so let me grab that. Or the Trumpeter Swan that we did a couple of weeks ago. I will be posting the link as soon as I get the link to the charity auction. Those will go up for auction. So if you are interested in that, you can support a great cause and you can put your name in the bucket for those. All right, so that is, I'm excited. This is the first time somebody approached me and said, hey, I want to buy that, the reeds, the grasslands photo or painting. Somebody approached me, a friend of mine, and I said, that's great. I'm putting it in a charity auction so you can bid on that. So that's exciting for me because it's validation of the work I'm doing, that people find value in it, which is really cool because I'm just in it to learn. Also, something that is interesting that I'm going to do probably some more videos, not on live stream, but on my YouTube channel. Several people have come up to me or said to me over the last several months that this is inspiring to them. And it kind of is strange to me in a way, because it's I didn't intend to go out to inspire people. I'm glad that it inspires people to mostly to share their own art, but I think it's really important to talk about what I'm learning. So I'm going to be doing some more videos on my YouTube channel. If you are not subscribed there, please go to YouTube. You can find it easily by going to bit.ly/YT Paint Party, YouTube Paint Party, YT Paint Party. You can find my channel. If you're not already watching there, you can subscribe there. And I'm going to do some videos, shorter videos on my process, what I'm learning, and why I think this is inspiring to others. So wanted to give you all a heads up on that content is coming in the next probably few weeks. So let's get started. If you don't follow me already on Instagram, you'll want to do that. During the week, whenever I have time, I will do live streams on Instagram only. During the weekends, I do them here on YouTube and all the various channels. So you can get connected on YouTube and you'll find at least the weekly ones. But if you want to see everything during the week, as well as the progress photos, you can follow me on Instagram. That's at Stephen E. Rice on Instagram. Stephen with a V, middle initial E, Rice. R-I-C-E is the last name. All right, so let's get started. As you can see, let me jump to my software here and give you all the reference photo so you can see the reference here. And let me flip this. There we go. Okay, now you can see the reference photo. You can see, if I hold this up, probably you can see that I have sketched in some basic lines and horizon lines and things, but not a whole lot on this. Oh, and this is the first time I'm using I think it's 11 by 17, so this is a larger canvas than I've done before. So typically I think I do like 8.5 by 11 canvases, but I thought this one, especially with that tree being the main kind of focal point for this painting, I thought it would be more interesting to do that on this larger canvas. So that's what's going on here. Let me get this set. All right. And we'll get started. I'm going to pull y'all here so that you can be a little closer to what I'm doing. Okay. Welcome everybody. Those of you that are just joining. All right, as we always do, we're going to start. Let me actually unplug my headphones and just talk to you all directly. I had my headphones on. I was watching another stream. My friend Max was streaming over on Twitch, and was watching that before and had my headphones in, and was editing a podcast. So as we do, we start from what's furthest away from the audience, or the viewer. So we're going to get started with the sky and the mountains in the distance. This is such a beautiful, this was outside Anchorage a couple of years ago. I went in December to see my brother who was living there at the time, and sister-in-law, and this beautiful scene. It was middle of the day, but because you're so far north, it looks like dusk pretty much all day long. So this is what was going on at that time. So let me mix a little bit. I'll try to hold up and mix. Someday I'm gonna get a camera over my workstation so you guys can see me mix easier. Okay, I am gonna do a darker blue than is on the picture, just because I really like a little bit of contrast, and so I want to do that. So mixing some light blue to go in here and start covering this, and just do some kind of X strokes to give us some sky here. All right, gotta mix some more paint. I say this every week, but these acrylics just dry so fast. and they soak into the canvas. So we'll put a good layer here in the sky. Really try to, so we don't get what my dad would call, when we were painting walls in apartments or houses, skippers. You don't want skippers on your canvas. You don't want spots where the paint is not covering. So you get these kind of. All right, as we go, we are going to get lighter as we go toward the horizon. So I'll mix some more white in, kind of give us the same tone, but we're going to start lightening it up significantly. And we'll just blend up into this. Try to avoid, the hard part is avoiding these harsh lines. That's what you have to paint really quick to avoid the harsh lines in the, as the paint dries, especially this first coat, because the paint is soaking into the canvas about as fast as you can put it on. So that's the deal. Okay, we're doing this. However, it is darker than I want, so I'm going to lighten this up. Remember, it's just paint, which is one of the points that somebody brought up to me. I think sometimes we're a little too precious with art or artistic expression. When we're kids, you know, we're quick to grab the paintbrush and load it up and do whatever our imagination can tell us. But as adults, we get really precious with artistic expression. And I'm the same way, not necessarily with painting, because I've come to this from a different perspective, but with specifically with music for me, because I'm trained in music or was trained in music, and so I tend to be really precious with music, and it has to be perfect, and it's never perfect, of course, and so I get very nervous when I have to play or whatever in front of people. But with painting, I didn't come to it from that perspective, so it's a little bit different for me. But yeah, I think it helps to remember that there's always a do-over. There's always a do-over. Art Sherpa earlier, she paints with canvas, water. Ah, yes, absolutely, Lola. That's and I've seen several people that will even. Oop, I got paint on my screen. People who will do will actually paint with a spray bottle, like a spray bottle on there right next to them, so they can. Excuse me while I clean my screen. Hazards of the circumstance with this sitting right next to the screen. I have all kinds of paint splatters. I should clean the screen more often. But I know there are painters that will spray down the canvas before they apply paint. I have kind of, as I've gone, I've developed the ability, or I guess just I'm used to throwing on that paint really fast, and so that has kind of helped me. But yeah, at some point I may treat it with water to. Okay, what I want to do, so we have the sky in pretty quick. We're going to put those distant mountains in. They're going to be really faint. The tree will go in last probably, but this kind of bay that comes in here, I want to lay this in, and some of the darker shadow spaces, and then the light spaces. Again, when we're going to do this in stages, so we'll put the basic color and the blocks, the shading and shadows in, and then we'll go put in the detail. So we'll put light and shadow in, but since I have kind of this bluish paint color on my palette already, what I'd like to do is go in and put in some, put in this bay, which is a little bit darker shade, but it's still got the blue. So I think if we do kind of a blue undertone for that, a blue-gray undertone, that will give us the shade that we're needing. So let's actually, and I am going to, you can see here there's a little purple tint. I'm taking some ultramarine blue with, of course, the white, which will give us the more kind of a purplish blue than the phthalo blue. And I think that's going to be more true to what's here. So let's go in and put in here kind of some of this initial color. There's kind of some hills in here. So we'll kind of just cover this up. Get, again, the color on the trying to just get color on the palette, or on the canvas. So hey there, Mom and Dad, I assume, sitting right there. Thanks for popping in, saying hello. Always appreciate you guys jumping in for a few minutes each Saturday. This is actually, I think the composition is a little off here, but we can always fix it. Comes in. Some of this will be covered by tree anyway. Again, just doing some kind of X strokes. Putting quite a bit of water. That's one thing, Lola. I don't spray my canvas ahead of time, but you mentioned like painting with water. On this first stage, I do tend to put a lot of water into my brush, and then that into the paint. So I don't know if you can see it, but it starts. I have to just be careful that it doesn't. I don't start lifting paint off of the canvas. Okay, so. And I'm actually going to just do a little bit darker. Whoops, I went way too dark. With got a little crazy with some, I'll show you guys in a second, with some black, and it went way too dark. But I wanted to do kind of a gray blue, this same color here. And I'm just going to come over here and put in the rocks. This will be a good base color to, then we just put in our highlights and lowlights on top of this color, and then that'll help us as we kind of do this. At least that's the plan. We can even come in here. This will all be kind of tree. This will be gray, green eventually. We'll kind of cover up some of this. Hopefully, that's what this will be. Okay. And then I want to, it's the same. Blend some of this out. Again, we're just trying to remove some of these hard edges. Okay, so we have a line of our kind of rock line coming out here to where the tree is. So we'll start putting that in a little bit. Then there's a lighter area, kind of water back in here that's catching the light. So we'll just kind of plug that in. Again, we're just blocking in some color, blocking in the primary values we want. Something I learned that's really cool, or I thought was really cool. Today I was watching a guy paint a white house, but he was painting it kind of in the front of the house was kind of shadowed. And so when he started painting it, he was painting it gray. And I was really kind of surprised. I was like, what is he doing? And he was explaining like the technique he was using was basically this sorry, I'm trying to think, and am I in the right place? Yeah, we'll just come in here with some of this. That is. And so he was laying in gray, and he said then what it allows him to do then when he puts highlights in certain places on the house, then it makes the house actually look white. And it was really kind of shocking to me, but he was correct. Like, it worked. And so it was really cool because earlier when I started painting, I don't know, some of you might remember this, I did a painting of some waterfalls in the Black Hills in South Dakota from a photo I took this summer. And one of the challenges I had was to get the one side of the waterfall, the rock face, was in the shadows, but I had trouble figuring out how to hey, Mr. Davis, thank you. Keep the hat. All right. Yeah. I am not going to grow an afro. But so this guy was saying that he painted the house. And so when I was painting this, trying to figure out how the shadows worked, it was really kind of difficult And I realized, like, oh, you can paint a totally different color and then put highlights in, and it makes it look like it's in the shadow. So that's something I'm going to be exploring a little more for sure. Okay, I want to kind of come in here. I want to start putting in a little bit, or the suggestion of these distant mountains. So the values we're choosing, now this is going to disappear into the tree, so it doesn't really matter, but it comes back over here. So the value I'm doing, so look at this palette. We had the purple, kind of brownish, and then we have a grayish, and then I'm doing kind of a white purple gray over here for this distant, kind of distant mountains. That will give the appearance, hopefully, that it is not only more distant, but there's more kind of some, um, well, that soft feel of, because this was a really, like, we were right at sea level, and the clouds were very, very low that day. So we get kind of that misty, cloudy feel over here. So that's the goal. Let's bring a little blue into this. Ooh, that's a little. Last weekend I talked about mixing all these colors. Kind of notice how I brought some of this blue in and it's way too dark, but then mixing it with this gray, now I'm going to have this nice blend from this grayish, almost gray purple into kind of the grayish blue, which now blends with the sky. But by blending all your colors kind of in the same, definitely on the same palette, but in the same space, all of a sudden you get a really nice coordination of the colors in your painting. So that's the method behind the madness, I guess, if that's the phrase. Okay. And since I laid this in, the soaking in, and it's showing, like I said, it's showing skippers in there, so want to put some more water into this and try to cover some of these up. Okay. So I'm sort of happy with how this is looking right now. We have some basic forms. The mountains, need to put a mountain in here. I should probably do that while I have this paint that is dry, or that is, so let's see, he is sitting right about there. I tell you, if you ever get the chance to go to Alaska, do it. It is, I was a little trepidatious to go in the winter just because, Alaska and cold. And I live in the South, and I've lived in cold climates before, but I've adjusted definitely to the South. I grab my coat jacket when it's below 50 degrees, so I'm definitely, at least right now, a Southern boy. But I tell you, it was absolutely beautiful. And I think this is a little too prominent. It's coming too far out of the background. If you see what I mean. Anybody see that? It's a little too prominent, but we can fix it. I just want to get kind of some of these shapes in here. Some of these, okay, and it comes down and there's a little mountain that sits there. Now I really do sound like Bob Ross. And a happy little mountain and little trees and, yep. There is another mountain, sits right in there, and then it disappears into the clouds. Okay. I expect it goes a little like that. So, all right. Hope everybody had a good, safe, and healthy Thanksgiving. Those of you in the U.S. who have celebrated Thanksgiving the last week. I had a very small, well, small gathering, not gathering really, but just the two of us. But we had lots of food. Still have whole refrigerators full. Okay, I'm gonna have to come in probably and lay some more because this is really like disappearing into the or soaking into the canvas. Okay. Okay. I know I keep saying, okay, okay. So let's look at this. Here's where we are now. We have kind of the base for this bay that comes in. It'll have to be shaped a little bit because it's a little, the rock retaining kind of shoreline. And then the shadow of the tree, which will then, this will all be dark and greens, not purple. But I need to put in this kind of lighter but shadowed grassland here, and then the shadow of the grass here. So let's do that. We are going to now put a little bit different colors, of course. We have kind of it's a warmer color. I think that's why this picture really works for me, because you have the blues, kind of that cool of the blues and kind of the purple tone grays, but then you also have kind of the warm yellows and kind of browns. So we are going to put a few of those colors on the palette. Whoa, way too much yellow. Be careful how you squeeze the tube where you end up with all that yellow and it ends up down the drain. So we are gonna, put in some burnt umber. Not sure exactly what I'll use, so probably use some gray. We'll mix some brown and definitely white. A tad yellow, just a little bit, barely any. And well, kind of like that, but I want more. I want to lighten this up. I almost want So notice how I have some dark brown all the way to this very light, which looks like white on my, if I hold it up really close, you can see it's kind of brown. But so we're going to go in here and just put in the beginning of the just the shore, or this little line of how this tucks into. There's even lighter in here, so I'm just kind of mixing. This will be, doesn't really matter because the dark that will lay over this will be so dark that it won't matter. So we'll just put that in there. We don't have to worry too much about the blending at this point. Okay, then we want a little bit of notice how adding a little black, it looks like brown, but I blend all the way to the left where I have this brown gray that then I can come in here and put to indicate some of the shadow that's there on the hillside. Where it's a light color, it's that still that kind of brownish grass, but there is a subtle shadow where the sun is not shining. So I want to indicate that a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to bring the same gray brown into this here. We have some here that's in the shadow, and there's just highlights a little bit. It goes all along here, all the way back. Because the sun only catches the light right at the edge. Right here at the top of the, and so we want to put a little bit of shadow there on the crest of the hill. There's shadow. Oh, Kim, I am excited for you. Yes, definitely. Let me know if you have any questions as you get started. I don't know a whole lot, but happy to share anything I've learned along the way. And I just started at Michael's, like your average supply shop. You don't have to do anything fancy, at least from my perspective, to get started. So as you do, um, definitely there's lots of good painters out on YouTube that you can learn so much from about the basics. And so, yeah, but so grateful to have you join the live stream. Pop in and say hello. I appreciate that. Okay. Again, I'm going back and just kind of blending out some of these, trying to blend out some of these hard lines, make it easier to blend in later. So, yeah. Okay. Saw something that I missed earlier as I was doing. So I want to go back to the here. I want to put in the light. Kind of there's this light along the shoreline. There's kind of where the light is being caught. Out in the water a little bit, there's some light spots. So I want to kind of just give the illusion of those as I'm thinking about light and dark. Probably, actually, I should go back to this also. So we pretty much have the whole canvas blocked in. Um, hey, Chase, good to see you. Thanks so much for popping in and saying hello. So I'm going to put some of the, let's go up in here. It's a little bright, isn't it? We want to darken that a little bit. Gray it out a little bit. So there's some light kind of in here, kind of down in here in the rocks. Where else do we see some light in there? And then as it comes over the top, there. Okay. Then here, there's this really light kind of purple color. That is the All right, I think we're getting there. Ah, perfect. Yeah, I think, I mean, for most people, you know, Michael's works well. I mean, at some point, by the time I'm good enough where it makes a difference, I'll be educated enough to make the choice, for example, with brushes or with particular types of paint. But for learning and for the early stages, I am happy with the quality. Particularly with brushes, I do. Michael's has this. Let me see. Zen Royal and Long Nickel. I don't. You guys can't read that, but anyway, that brand. Oh, that's a little easier. But it's kind of their mid-range brand. It's not the kind of expert brushes, but it's good enough to get started. You know, and as I get better, I'll probably. But honestly, when I started, I didn't even know what types of brushes, you know, like even like the style, you know, flat brushes or filbert brushes or, you know, now I know what these words are because I've heard people say them, but like, which do I need and what sizes? And I didn't want to buy it. So literally, I'd go and I have a bunch of brushes I never use here or rarely use, my earliest brushes. Like this one is a dagger brush that I don't use very often. I probably should use it more often, but you know, and then I have some fan brushes, and here's another dagger that I got that I like. I don't know why I don't use this. I guess because I should just bring it out more. But anyway, yeah, so you get used to, and then you learn how to make what you want with the brushes you have, and you figure it out. Okay, so I feel good with where we are here. So what I want to start doing is locking in. I need to put some clouds up here in the sky, again, moving furthest from the viewer forward. So let's go back and let's start putting in some of these clouds. Now, the clouds, last time I'm trying to remember because I used a different brush and it worked really good. I think it was just a round brush. Let me try it. Clouds have been a challenge for me. If you have watched my growth, and so, but I'm really getting where I can, they're starting to be okay. So when I look at this, I see this kind of cloud and then clouds down here. So what I need to do is think about these colors, obviously, if we just go in with stark white, they're going to look fake. So, let's see. They are, and I'm looking. So we have kind of the gray highlights, grayish highlights in, and it's almost like a yellow white. So let's just start there. Let's say tad of yellow, really little yellow, not much at all because it's so powerful. But that brings some of that warmth into the sky. And it's sitting on the blue. So I'm going to tone this down actually, which may seem weird, but I'm toning it down with actually a little brown, very little, and I brightened it up warmed it up with the yellow. But this way, hopefully it won't look so, by toning it down with the brown a little bit, it won't look so stark against the blue, because I darkened this blue a little bit. Let's see how this works. And we'll just go again in with some X strokes, putting in the main, kind of trying to put in some of the main structure of these clouds. They come out over here. Eventually we won't want the blue showing through, but it's okay if the blue shows through. And we'll just keep using less and less paint as we go up, because it's just we want kind of that smoggy look at the top. So which I'm getting almost in the first, by really blending in. This comes over here a little bit. So put in, and I'm using the edge of the brush just to kind of, then my finger will just kind of blend those in. That gives it a softer texture up there. We'll bring them down, bring it down, bring it down. Not really putting any more. There's a spot, oh, see where there was some paint in the, so let's really brush that out a little bit. Should have another, let me use one of these dry brushes as kind of a blender brush. There we go. Okay, that works, right? Because we don't want hard edges on these clouds. So we will again create some structure. As it comes to the tree, and bring in our dry brush and kind of, okay. This is still a little too hard for me, which I don't think y'all can see. But see how that line is pretty hard and defined. So we'll have to soften that up as we go. But initially, I want it there, just so I kind of have the structure of the cloud formation. Okay. And there's here. It's very smoky, so really lightly I'm coming in across these mountains and just putting the suggestion of this color across there. You're not putting much on this, not too much on this brush. But we want to get the appearance of these clouds across the tops of these mountains, because it's where the sun is catching them. The sun is catching the light. There's almost behind this tree, there's a set of clouds that come across the hills that are really bright, and then the tree's going to kind of sit right in here, there, but there's a big bright spot there where the sun is reflecting off the clouds as they come over the mountains. So we'll put that in, and then I'm actually going to go into this color, maybe bring in a little bit of gray. Little tiny bit of gray. So look how I mixed. So here I mixed again some black and white into the brown. And the goal is, again, with that principle of let's use the same palette, can we create, there's some warm tones back in here where the sun is reflecting off of, I assume there's water back there, and it's reflecting up onto these mountains and making them look more muted. So that's kind of what we're going for. Because I want a really sharp contrast. Okay. Alrighty. I'm starting to be happy with this. Let's see. Okay. Here's where we are. We laid in the basic structure of the clouds coming across the painting. Hopefully you can see how adding that little bit of brown warms up these clouds and makes them look like they're reflecting the sun, as opposed to stark white on the blue, which would have really pulled them forward and made this look a lot less realistic. So then we laid in some just beginning of the clouds down across the mountains. I lightened this tone up a little bit with the reflection. There's kind of a orange yellow toned reflection of, like I said, the water back there. And then, this will all be dark stone, but that is what's going on here. Okay, so now what I want to do is go into this mountain, and this mountain specifically, and then this one, and really start to define these and bring the color bring them to the color I want, which is a more muted gray than I think I've had. So let's see. Let me try to also bring you even closer to me. Let me see. Okay. Now let's see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. Okay. So you can see some of the detail work that I'm hopefully going to do. I'm more looking for the if you look at the left side of the scene, it's like looking upstream of the Arkansas River toward Pinnacle Mountain. Yes, that's what it reminded me as well, Bob. This absolutely, for those of you who aren't here in Little Rock, there is a state park just west of town that's as you if you're downtown and you look out and you're on the bridges over the Arkansas River, it looks like it sits on the river. It does not, but it is at the end. It's kind of positioned there where the river winds right out to it. And the shape of Pinnacle Mountain, which is not really a mountain, it's probably, I don't know, maybe 1,000 feet elevation, 800 feet. It's a hill, but beautiful hikes out there. But yes, I absolutely agree with you, Bob. Those were my thoughts too. When I saw how this laid out, I'm like, that looks like Pinnacle. So, all right, we are going to switch brushes, mix some of a light gray. I'm mixing a little, let's see, where is it? Oh, here. So a little gray, black, white, and a little ultramarine blue. So it actually has a purple tone. It's not straight up gray. But let's go in here and see what we can do. That is too bright for me because this is on the shadow side. So we want to bring in a little more gray. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want it to be on this background. I don't want it to be, which it's being. I don't want it to be or look. I want it definitely to look gray. So I don't want it to be brown, a brown tone, or peachy. I want it to definitely be gray. On this blue. Man, that's just really looking gray, isn't it? Maybe it's just my eyes. Let's see. What's our mantra? It's a good thing they're acrylics because we can paint over it. All right. I don't think this is the color exactly I want, but we can always make it better, right? I'm not sure what to do, y'all, because I don't know why I'm not getting the gray that I want. Don't want it too dark. I want it muted, but I want it a definite gray, not this. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe everything looks purple against this blue. Oh, and I have an orange incandescent light above me, so that's understandable. Okay, so let's come in here and just that's another thing I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, that I might do some content around, for lack of a better term, mindset around creativity. And I think one of the reasons that I've been able to improve fairly quickly is due to the fact that there's a point where you say, this is the best I can do with my current level of skill. You know, this is the best I can do with my current level of skill, and it's just good enough. And you ship it, you send it out, you put it out in the world. I think that's one advantage I've had is I started, you know, I post these pictures or these paintings as they're in progress. So I will post to my social channels as they are being painted so that people can see, you know, get to see the process. I don't wait till they're perfect to send them out, or, you know, to show them to the world. And that has given me a freedom creatively, because when I post them, they're not done, and that's okay. So yeah. Anyway, food for thought. Okay. So as you can tell, this is really, because I've put light underneath it, it's really dark at the top. And so it really pops up like it's out of the painting, like it's on a, I don't know, coming out of the clouds, which is not the effect I want. So I'm going to try to come in and take some of that out. So that it doesn't jump off the, out of the background so much. This is another thing with the process, is you notice I put, in the span of like 10 minutes, put probably 4 layers of paint on this same mountain, trying to figure out how, oh, my stream just died. Oh, just a second, y'all. Nah, let me, sorry about that. Let me see if I can, I don't know what's going on with my phone. Oh, it wasn't charging, or, yeah, it went down to 0 battery. So let me see if I can, I may have to let it charge. I've never had that happen. I guess maybe I didn't realize it's plugged in, but maybe I didn't realize it wasn't charging. Let me see if it has enough juice to start up. So we'll just have a little commercial break. How's everyone's night going? I hope well. We'll see if we can. But what I was saying, I'm going to keep painting here to while this boots up. What I was saying is I've put 3 or 4 layers on these mountains and, you know, try and fail. I've failed about 5 or 6 times in the last 10 minutes. And then, of course, clear fail with the phone. But I think that's a component of creativity, is the willingness to fail and figure out, like, okay, that didn't work. Let me try something else. Let me lighten the color. Let me, change the color. Let me do something else until you get either what you're looking for, or you realize, you know what? I don't have the skill right now to get anything better. And then I just have to be okay with that. Yeah, my phone. I may have to let it sit, y'all. So, because it's barely enough. It's not getting enough juice to even boot up. It really ran dead. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. We're gonna fail forward, to be cliche. In the meantime, let me get a drink. Okay, it's booting up at least, and it shows it's charging. I may have to go get another, and I'm burning up. So, and I'm just sitting here. My heater just came on. I think I'm gonna have to turn down the heat. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pause just a minute. I'm gonna put up a cool little BRB. I will be right back, literally. Yeah, my phone is dying again. And yeah, I'm gonna rinse my water and come back and hopefully fix this phone situation. We may just have to let it charge for a minute. I will be right back, y'all. Okay. I need a little jingle when I'm gone to keep y'all entertained, don't I? All right, well, I have 1% charge on the phone. I think I may have to just let it sit for a minute and charge itself. Okay, let me see how I have another charging cord if needed. Let us adjust this. No, you're seeing my dirty, or my cluttered, you're seeing my cluttered spare room. Okay, let me see if I can, whoops, nope. If I can stretch my MacBook. Let me do this. I'm going to see if I can actually use my... Someday I'm going to have good equipment, and it'll probably fail too at some point, right? Okay, let's see if we... All right, good deal. Okay, come on. Put that under the... Okay, whoops. Appreciate y'all being patient. Let me... I don't know what's going on. It reset when I unplugged it and plugged it in a new place. Okay, so, well, we are just going to adjust, and we're going to turn it this way because that'll work for me. If that works for y'all, and I'm going to, whoops, come back onto this, and I'm going to just move this over here. That way you can see what I'm painting. It's not ideal, but it'll get us through. And you don't need to see my ugly mug anyway. All right. All right, all right. Huzzah for the people who stuck with me through that fiasco. You all should... What? This phone is... I guess that's what happens when you have like an 8-year-old phone. It is... I don't know if it's the phone, because it was at 1% and now it's at 0% again. Let's try a different charge. A different charge cord. We have a phone that's old. That's what happens, I guess. But it's paid off and there's no debt on it. So it's a good phone. All right. So now, mountains. We have the mountains in the background. I'm kind of happy with where those are going. Not terribly sad about that. Okay. Now what I want to do is come in with the same, kind of that same perspective, same approach, and do the mountain on the other side. Give it just some really specific, defined dimensions. There's some in the background that are lighter, so you can barely see it, but this one here is a tad darker than those in the background. We want to desaturate the same color. Hey, Miss Abby, thank you so much. Thanks for stopping in and saying hello and making my day, young lady. Making my day. You inspire me on the daily. And just for all of y'all, the holidays are coming, so I'm going to put her comment back up. Abby Seiler, find Abby's Teas and Things, and buy y'all some loose leaf teas, custom blended You won't find them anywhere else. I was not a tea drinker till Abby converted me to the gospel of the tea leaf. Being a little sacrilegious now, but I am telling you, I have matcha. I drink it chilled matcha every morning, and it kicks off my day beautifully. It's such a light um, caffeine rush, should I say? It's not really a rush. It's like a really smooth start to the day. It's good for you. Um, and so, yeah, get you, if that's your deal, I put a little honey and lemon juice in mine and pour it over ice and blend it, and it's just delicious. But I mean, her fall blends are and summer blends and every other blends are amazing. And don't be intimidated if you're not a tea drinker. All you need is one of those little tea balls, and you put your tea in it and steep it. I'm not a hot tea drinker, so I drink my teas cold even in the summer or in the winter, I mean. But it's a great way to, uh, yeah, it's a great refreshing drink. And so I mix mine typically with a little lemon juice and honey. And yep, so she is shipping all over the country so you can get your tea fix. Yes, yes. Matcha is great. If you are here in Little Rock, you can also stop by Abby's. You should follow her on Facebook. You can stop by. She does the tea stand outside, so it's perfectly safe. You can swing by and get curbside pickup of the tea, and it is a great holiday stocking stuffer and gift throughout the year. So that's the deal. Support your local small businesses. All of them are struggling. They don't get all the same. This is my political statement of the night. They don't get the same lobbying bang for the buck typically that the big guys do or girls do. So supporting your local businesses will help them survive. Where did y'all know? I mean, I teach entrepreneurship, and I knew this, but I didn't know it until recently. 99, I believe 99.9% of our economy are small businesses. 99.9%. So we have got to keep these folks alive for the next 6 to 18 months. And it just takes a little intention, little willingness to say, hey, I'm going to drive across town, in my case to Abby's, and pick up my matcha. But we do not, in your community, I know you don't want those small businesses going away, your favorites. Keep them alive. Support them, promote them, and most of all, buy from them. So, yeah, that's my statement, and I'm sticking to it. Absolutely, absolutely, Abby. It's I absolutely believe in your product and I love it, and so people should check it out. Okay, so I mixed. It looks like gray, but it's actually kind of a bluish. And I'm bringing these rock formations here straight out into the forefront. So this will eventually be covered up by tree, but I want to put in a solid rock line here. Oh, you are, Lola. Cool, cool. What what small business do you, or what type of small business do you run? Okay, I said I was waiting till the end to put in this tree, but I lied. I am putting the, at least the stem of it in so that I have a visual reference of for the rest of the painting. So that's why I'm doing that, because I want to have the visual reference right, and I want to have, yeah, because I was gonna come on the other side of the tree here and try to put in some, I guess I can just take this all the way across because it'll end up being some tree limb. But above that will be, oh cool, Lola. Pet grooming, excellent. How long have you done that? How long have you been in pet grooming? And is it like a mobile service, or do you actually have like brick and mortar shop where people come to have their pets taken care of? A favorite brush or stroke? Abby, the great question. It really, for me, I before you came on, I was kind of telling people that I I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I'm figuring out as I go, literally. And so, like, I am kind of learning what works. I don't know if you saw, I posted the picture that I did last weekend, this one right here. Um, and notice, like, the grass, one of the things that everybody commented on was how real the grass looked, or the reeds. It's really hard to do. So I'm really proud of that because it took me literally, for that center section, I put about 2 hours into it. And I tried, actually, they're all here still. I tried all of these brushes to try to to figure out how to get those reeds so they would look normal. And what I found, what I learned was, yes, you have to have a tiny little brush. At different times, I used, I think, this one and this one. These really tiny blue ones. Let me move over there. And then this one, that are even, like, they're smaller than my fingernail, like half a fingernail bristles. But it was more important was the stroke, um, barely touching the canvas, gave it that view, or that look. And so really, when it comes to it, it's what am I trying? What is the look I'm trying to create, and how do I do that? Like even right now, as I'm talking, I'm trying to put in these rocks, but my this paint dries really fast, and so notice how there's a really hard line that goes in, like over here, especially, like it's a hard line. I wanted a hard line there because that's the shore line. But over here, I don't necessarily want it as hard. So I'm putting it in and then I'm kind of blending it out and trying to figure out. And I'm just using a small, what's called a filbert brush to do that. It's a rounded brush. But yeah, it's figuring out what works for what I'm trying to, the look I'm trying to get done. And then I watch YouTube videos and find out I've been doing it wrong all along. And another example that I learned from YouTube, like when you're doing a horizon or something like this, where I want a pretty straight line with this rock. Like I want it to look, because in the reference photo it's a pretty straight line across here, and so um, it's actually better if you do a bunch of. You'll notice I'm doing a bunch of small strokes because it apparently it's less likely that we're going to be able to go, like the human hand is not, I'm not even enough to go all the way across like in one stroke. So by doing small strokes little by little, then it looks straighter, I guess, to the eye. So just a little trick, little trick, little trick, and then I'm just going to kind of not put over there. Okay, so that gives us some, and I'm just going to kind of, this will end up being foreground. Whoa, didn't want to come in there with that, but that's all right. All right. The tea lady has joined us. Hi, Abby. Great tea and other goodies on the lawn in Hillcrest. Yes, Bob, definitely. Okay. Now I'm going to take this color. There is under this tree, kind of a path here that is kind of a gravel or dark kind of color. So I'm going to put that in right now. I just noticed it. Um, I think my composition is off because I think it's actually the tree. Some of this, I'm going to try to, I should have done this with blocking, but I'm going to try to put now some of this in. Did earlier, but we'll put some of this gray in where these shadows are. This is where the tree will come. Again, notice that I moved furthest away from the viewer to where we're coming forward now, putting in a little more detail as it gets more defined. That also helps. I talked about the fear of perfection in art and how we get really precious with art, or art kind of expressions of art. And I think one of the things that can help is, well, at least in this kind of art that I'm doing, like painting, painting is a series of revisions. So it's constantly, it's bouncing, like I'm just mixing new colors. So I have my colors a little off. It's a little lighter than the original. So I'm adjusting the color on the fly. But as you put in layers or whatever it is, all of a sudden you start putting something in and you realize, oh, that doesn't look right, and so you can change it. And so it takes some of that fear of, oh, this has to be perfect, to, you know what, I like that or I don't. And it's not about the perfection. That makes sense. But what I would hope for anybody, all of, as people, more and more people watch the stream, or I do more live streams, what I would hope is that people end up making their own and recognizing their own, whatever their particular art or self expression is, whether it's in this case tea or painting or dog grooming or whatever it is. I would hope that people um, can take those, my me sharing some of my experiences can help people apply it in their own life to be more willing or able to put out what you create in the world, whatever it is you make in the world. Maybe that's me being overly optimistic, but that would be my hope. That is my hope. Okay, let me go in because right here I want to make some decisions. Now I do sound like Bob Ross. I want to make some, I want this to come across here. I'll put a branch very specifically in here. And I'm just now putting all these, trying to put in these shadow areas that I can build off of. If I can get this tree Hey, Richie, thanks for stopping in. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for your kind words and kind encouragement. I'm little by little, I'm learning. Little by little. Okay. You can tell I stopped talking because I'm focusing a little more closely than I normally do. Trying to really get this right because she is the diva of this painting, this particular tree. So I don't want to mess her up. Richie, that actually would be fun. I hope that my goal would be with these live streams eventually to have enough people who watch who are artists or amateur artists or just people who love to try new things where I could host a de facto paint party. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be able to every month send out a list of reference photos and, you know, have people paint along with me. That would be really cool. All right, so we're getting the major structure of this tree laid in. The main kind of branches. Thanks so much, Lola. I always appreciate you being here and your support early on in this venture. I'm glad to be here. Hope you have a wonderful evening and get some good rest. Okay. Okay, y'all. So we have some structure for the tree, some basic, and the shadows that are going to be in the branches down here, and shadows kind of all the way up. I put in some shadows here on the ground. We'll be able to put in highlights as we do the detail work, um, and then we'll start doing here as well. So, oh, and I also did this. Whoops, I need to hold it like this. I did the line of the kind of the horizon line there that goes along that rocky outcropping. So let's start to um, oh, what should we do? Let's start to define some of these mid areas. Um, Put in a little bit of detail work, and yeah, I think that'll be a good plan. Let me look at my phone. Okay, I'm at 52%. So let me see. That should be enough to get us started so we can turn back to the better view for y'all. Probably going to paint another 20 minutes or so, 20-30 minutes. Um, but we shall see. I always say, oh, I'm going to try to get this down to 2 hours, but seems like no matter what I do, we're always right kind of at this mid point, and we don't have a lot of the detail done when we do once we're 2 hours in. Of course, I talked for a lot. I talked for a while at the beginning about the charity auction and all the other stuff going on. So, but I think like the grasslands one last weekend, I think this will be. Hello, is it Daria? Daria, how do you pronounce your name? Um, but I'm glad to have you. Thanks for stopping by. What are you on? Are you watching on Facebook or Twitter, or where are you? Where are you tuning in from? So glad to have you. Let me. I appreciate those that are tuning in or those that do tune in, especially new viewers. My I'll give kind of the spiel. My live stream is very much a stop in, say hello, check it out, pop in, pop out. So um, glad to have you. Okay, let me switch back here to the. Okay. I'll move this back to the other side for you. And you can look over my shoulder. Will be a little bit easier, hopefully. Okay. So we are working now to put in some of the, like I said, the mid detail here. So let's go in. Let's just try to do some of the detail on this water here. So I'm mixing a little blue white to do some highlights. this blue light will be, or blue white will be, white and blue will be the highlights here, um, in the middle of the lake. It's kind of, this was in Alaska, so, and it was December, so the frozen ice, um, or partially frozen ice. So we'll do some of this detail work with this white, blue. And it's kind of shadowed, so I want it, I don't want it too bright. Okay. Then there's a little bit where the light is catching us back here. Okay, so I'm mixing kind of this purplish blue again to come in here in this backspace and do, oops, that's too dark. We want that color, but we want it lightened up a little bit. Oh, my freezing up. There we are, I'm back. The app I use for my phone is to use my phone as a camera is Bluetooth or yeah, Bluetooth, and so sometimes it'll lose the feed. Okay, because there's this section of the ice back in here. It is just kind of a bluish purple. So I want to bring that in, bring that over certain sections. Let me bring some of this also down here into, it's too dark still. Let's lighten it up. But I like the value of it, like the tone and the value I'm getting is good. I just need to brighten it. Bring some white, some more white. All right, some of this, what I want to do now is start putting in some suggestions of highlights on the rocks of the more kind of the ice. There are some places where the water has come up on the shore and there's some ice showing through. And then sometimes not. Sometimes it's just the edge of the rocks. There's a where the sun is catching these rocks along the edge. So we want to start to lay that in, at least I believe we do. So we can start to have some form on these rocks.
And again, I said this earlier, but this is a comedy of errors in a lot of ways. It's trying things that work, adjusting as you realize things aren't working, and changing colors and approach in between, figuring out, okay, that's not working, and then figuring out what to do in the meantime. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate you stopping in, and we'll chat soon. We'll hopefully get a good day where we can get out on the deck, get some nice weather, cooler or warmer weather, sunny weather. Okay, coming in. Trying to define this kind of, there's a plateau, kind of goes down and drops off. So a big rock right here that is reflecting the sun dramatically. So I want to put that, kind of place that. And there's some more over here. All of a sudden something starts to work, and I'm really loving the this color I have, so I'm taking advantage of it. I think I'm actually going to even bring it up into the tree. to start to define some of the highlight spots in the tree, because I like it's kind of a greenish brown, greenish blue. We can go on top of this then and put in lighter green. At least that's the intent. Let's see. Thanks, Mom. I'm about to wrap this up probably in the next. Oh, I was going to wrap it up by now, but in the next 15 minutes. I just got some good things happening with this color, so wanted to take advantage of it. So the trick is setting these layers in, especially the highlights on the rocks. Just one simple highlight at a time. And as you put layers in, then all of a sudden they start to pop out of the and all of a sudden you have something that looks really real and authentic. You just keep finessing it until it really looks the way you want it to look. Right now it looks a little mess, but we'll get in there. The hard thing is putting this in, pausing like I'm about to do, and then coming back to it. Because the colors are different. If I go wash my palette, which I'm about to do, then all of a sudden I gotta figure out again where I am and figure out these colors and get the right colors in. But I'm getting better and better at it, so yay me. Richie, absolutely. Yes, I before you came on, I um, mentioned that I'm actually auctioning off this painting, which you may have seen on social, but I'm auctioning that off for junior achievement, as well as this one. Both of these will be up to raise money for junior achievement here in Arkansas. This week, I'm going to be posting the link. I'll probably put this one up if it turns out good, for sale if anybody wants it. Once, obviously it's going to take a lot more work to get it there, but yeah, absolutely am open to selling my work. I actually would be pleased to sell some work because I am filling up my mantle with canvases. So, gotta get rid of them somewhere. But definitely keep an eye out and let me know if any of what I've done already or things I do in the future are of interest. Happy to do um, to sell them. I don't need to keep all of these in my possession. It's so funny, y'all, because I teach, as I said earlier, I teach entrepreneurship to high school students, and but you know how we all do, like with our insecurities sometimes get the better of us, and um, I was when I was approached to donate a painting for this auction, my first response was or thought was I'm not good enough yet because I just started. Like I'm only a couple months into my painting experience journey. And my boss was saying, "Well, it doesn't matter what you think. It matters kind of what the market says, or what the audience, if they want to buy it or they want to raise money from it, that's the ultimate validation." And he was right. That is absolutely correct. So I am learning to let go to my own freak out um, tendency and my own perfectionism. But yeah, that's anyway. I'm gonna keep going, y'all, because I am in the zone a little bit. So, um, but don't feel like you have to stay. I love having y'all here if you want to watch. Um, let me explain what I'm kind of doing. So you can see I'm starting to lay in the rocks. It just takes a lot of time and effort to lay in all kinds of different colors in there to make it look real. So I started laying in the shadows and I'm liking how that's looking. So now I'm mixing this ultramarine blue, which is the purple blue, with kind of that brownish black that I've been working with. Um, so that I get a little bit toned down dark. Uh, it's not as brown in these, and I thought I was like, oh, maybe this will work, but I'm not liking. It's a little too dark. So let me lighten it up a bit and see if that helps or if it just, nope, it's too. But again, we mix and we work and we try and we see. It's like, okay, that's not working, but I do like this gray better. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to lighten these rock formations in the background up a little bit because I think it makes them look just more lifelike. Okay, so see, I added that kind of gray color to the stone so it looks more realistic. A little more realistic. I'm going to also add it down here in the shadow area. Good deal. Isn't that cool, Abby? Like, this is the fun part. There's always a part in the painting where you feel like nothing's coming together and it's a mess and I should just quit. And what I found is you just, like, I didn't, even in this painting, I didn't even notice that point when it happened. Um, but all of a sudden, with some little brush strokes and some little variations in color, all of a sudden, I mean, this is nowhere near done, of course, but all of a sudden, like, oh, I can see a rock is coming out there, and there's some other rocks here, and oh, there's, the distance. And so that's what is fun to me when you start to see things popping out off the um, canvas. And Bob Ross used to say, he used to talk about happy little accidents, and I absolutely understand what he was meaning, like when all of a sudden you do something and you didn't necessarily intend to do it, but it works and something happens and boom, all of a sudden there's um, yeah, there's cool things happening on the painting. So yeah, it's quite a fun process when it starts to work. I'm not sure this is working, but we'll see. And go back to my happy land and the rocks, because the rocks were really working for me. So let's just keep them working if they're working for us. I really need some. What I'm pleased with as well is the what I knew I didn't yet have, like, even a couple weeks ago I didn't have the skill to do this correctly. And I'm still, like, learning a lot, but um, I knew that the ability to make the sun look like, the trick on making to make this painting believable is believing that the sun, the backside of this tree is in shade, but then you see it's backlit and the sun is shining in this way. And to get those little pops of, and right in here is going to be another challenge, and of course in the tree, like getting that correct is the challenge. Mom, yes, it was right outside Anchorage. One day when we went driving, I think towards, can't remember the town, but the town where you go through the, like, mile long tunnel. We weren't there because that was like an hour or two drive, but I think it was along that highway. Betsy and I stopped and got out and took these pictures. It was really cold along the sound there, um, but it was so beautiful. We had to literally jump out, and I think we were irritating Nathan, my brother-in-law, because we were, or my brother, my sister-in-law and I were, because every few minutes it was a new vista that we had to jump out of the car and take a picture of. And so he was very accommodating to pause and go with us. So yeah, Whittier. So yeah, I think it was out going towards Whittier, like when you first leave Anchorage. And so yes, that's it. Okay. Now I need to switch tones a little bit. I've been doing this kind of brownish gray tone, but now I need to really switch to blue, um, a blue tone, because there's a bluer tone, because there's this gray that's kind of in the shadows. So the warm brown gray is the backside of the highlights, but then you have this kind of bluish gray that don't know, that is the majority of this. So all right. So I want to pause, or not pause, but kind of mention something for those of you who are so kindly sticking with me. Um, there comes a point in every artist's life now, um, one of the things that I am learning as I go is that there are I learned first by mimicking tutorials, and then I had a student who my student Alec that kept saying, "Mr. Steve, paint your own stuff. Like quit mimicking or using other people's tutorials." And he was right. Once I got a certain level of skill, it was time for me to do. And so I've been in the intermediate stage since then, kind of now using reference photos that I have taken or that other people have taken. Of course, with permission, I paint, and I started by just painting there as accurate a reflection or as accurate a representation as I could. But as I gain more skill, what I'm becoming more and more comfortable with is using the reference material as just that, a reference material. And I'm noticing right now in this, as I am going and working on these rocks, all of a sudden I'm glancing over here, but I'm starting to see things come out of my coastline that aren't maybe necessarily exactly here the way they are. Um, and that's okay. As an artist, that is the process, right? Like the artists, that's why you're an artist, is to um, interpret what you see or what you observe. And so I am recognizing that as I do this, that, oh, there are things that are rock formations that are not necessarily on the picture. I mean, obviously, anybody who looks at this and looks at this can say, oh, yeah, that's the same place. But I'm taking some liberties with this and kind of creating different. But again, that's why people say, "Oh, you're so good at this." Well, if you're patient and you get enough color variations, it's not rocket science. I mean, it's just the same. If you notice, most of these brushstrokes are just right angles, right angles, right angles. They're just, I mean, more or less. And they're various variations of colors in the stones that make them look more. Let me zoom in a little bit, maybe, so you can, that make them look a little bit more real. Um, oh, I can't wait till I have a camera that's right over my workspace, and you, that way, as you're watching, you can literally see the fine work, not the fine work, the, what I'm, you know what I'm trying to say. You can see the detailed work that I'm trying to do. That's also the value of doing the blocking in that we did at the very beginning to get all the canvas covered with various shades, is now it makes it a lot easier to go in and do some detail work when the blocking was good. Notice, okay, I want to show you all something. I don't know if you can see it, but notice right here, whoops. notice that so we have this kind of dark color, we have a light purple color, we have a other lighter color. Just by adding little variations of all of the shades, you start to get the the sides start to emerge. Different shades of green, or I'm sorry, of kind of purplish. Y'all, we are 3 hours in. Is anybody here that was here at the very beginning? Anybody watching still that has been watching more or less the whole time? Please let me know in your comments if you have been, because oh my gosh, I am super impressed if that's the case. Maybe not, and that's fine. I didn't expect anybody necessarily. Ooh, I don't like how that right in the middle. Ugh. Nope, nope, nope. It's got to go. So we're going to lighten this up and then we're going to take it out of there. Bye-bye. See? Boom. Gone. Even the things we don't like, we can quickly take out. They actually add y'all, there are still, there's like, I think 4 people. My Okay, so now what I'm doing, whoops, is going in with some very fine detail highlights there, right here in the near for like mid-ground sort of, and I'm trying to define some of these rocky outcroppings a little better with the very edge of my brush and the very edge of the sunlight. But I don't want to bring them, I don't want it to be too bright because I don't want to bring it too far forward into the foreground. Okay. Whoops. Okay, everyone. I am taking a break. Mentally, I think it's good to step back. It's been 3 hours and 13 minutes. Um, and I'm pleased with where we got. There's a lot, probably 3 more hours to go at least on this, 3 or 4 more hours. Um, yeah, so I'm pleased with where it is right now, but it's still got a lot of detail work to do. I'm happy with the composition. I'm happy with how it's laid out on the canvas. I'm happy with how it's starting to come together. If I can do a little more detail work on the rocks and the same detail in the tree and get it good, this is going to be a really nice painting. I might even frame this one. Um, so I'm pleased. I'm excited about where my own skill level is and where it's going. And so, yeah, that is where we are. Reminder, if you want to follow the journey, subscribe on YouTube. You can find me there and subscribe. And every weekend, I do these live streams. During the week, when I have time, I sometimes do Instagram live or Instagram TV, Instagram live. Live streams just on Instagram. I also post progress photos. So, in a few minutes, I'll probably take a couple of pictures of this um, painting in progress, and then of course when it's done. So if you want to follow all the details, you can follow me on Instagram at Stephen E. Rice. Stephen with a V, middle initial E, last name Rice. And yeah, you can see what's going on there. And you can see what I have for Thanksgiving dinner because I'm one of those people. So happy with where we are. That's where we're going. Also, I will post to Instagram specifically, and if those of you who are connected on Facebook, the charity auction that is coming up this week, toward the end of the week, I think. So if you see that link and you want either of these two paintings, the grasslands, Florida grasslands, or the trumpeter swan, both of these will be available to bid on for for fundraising for junior achievement here in Central Arkansas. Thanks so much for spending the evening with me. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I'm excited to continue this journey and keep going from here. So I appreciate those of you who stuck in with me through the process. All right, I will see you next time. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and I will catch you probably next Saturday evening.